صلح با ایران مادر همه صلح هاست، جنگ با ایران مادر همه جنگ هاست. باز هم تکرار میکنم، نیت ما رو خدشه دار بکنید و در انتظار امنیت خودتون باشید. صلح در برابر صلح، نفت در برابر نفت.
We have before us a rare opportunity to bring security and stability and peace to this region and to its people, defeating terrorism and creating a future of harmony, prosperity, and peace. But we can only get there working together. There is no other way. Mr. President, Mr. Prime Minister, I look forward to working closely with both of you during my stay.
پس ادعای نابجا نکنید. امنیت در برابر امنیت، تنگه در برابر تنگه. و اگر آمریکا واقعا مذاکره میخواد، قبل از هر کاری باید کل تحریم رو برداره.
Iraq does not pose any threat to the United States. It does not pose any threat to the state of Israel. The Israelis have to be digging and digging and digging for a strategy to be able to make Iraq look threatening.
Well, a new Pew Research poll shows that, not surprisingly, a majority of American Muslims view Donald Trump as, quote-unquote, unfriendly. I'm not sure if they needed to commission a poll to figure that out, but this poll does have some interesting revelations. This Islamophobia has really been the kind of basis of the American political cohesion since September 11th, 2001 attacks.
So now they're coming up with all kind of fancy theories about biological weapons and weapons of mass destruction and so on. It's just dust in the eye. Well, and if Israel does not pose any threat, why all of this hullabaloo, all of this shouting from the mountaintops about attacking Iraq?
There was a plan afoot since the Jerusalem Conference on International Terrorism in 1979, convened by Netanyahu, to replace communism with terrorism, meaning, of course, Islamic or anti-Zionist terrorism, as the next great civilizational enemy. So 9/11 was part of a project to create an intergenerational, essentially permanent hatred of Muslims in the U.S. population. And this was going to be the new orientation of the West. And the major beneficiary here was the state of Israel. But it could also be used to continue to destabilize the Middle East on behalf of Western economic interests.
And then publish in the newspapers all kinds of alternative strategies, how to attack. It sounds suspicious. Sounds like the attack on Iraq is not for military purposes. Sounds like the attack on Iraq is for political purposes.
But what happened in 1977 was that Menachem Begin and Yitzhak Shamir, the former heads of the Zionist terrorist gang, the Irgun and the Lehi, the Stern gang, these two parties had created a coalition of all their former terrorist buddies. And Netanyahu's in there, the revisionist Zionists. They came to power in Israel, and this is when the plan for 9/11 began. This party that came to power, the Likud party, as I said, was the party of the terrorists. And they used terrorism as a strategic tool to achieve their goals. And what they wanted to achieve is that Israel has no hinterland. Israel is a thin sliver on the sea. There's no hinterland for them. So what they needed is that they needed the United States military to come in and to basically fight their wars for them and to give them a buffer zone.
Right after 9/11, about 10 days after 9/11, I went through the Pentagon and I saw Secretary Rumsfeld and Deputy Secretary Wolfowitz. I went downstairs just to say hello to some of the people on the Joint Staff who used to work for me, and one of the generals called me in. He said, "Sir, you got to come in. You got to come in and talk to me a second." I said, "Well, you're too busy." He said, "No." He says, "We've made the decision. We're going to war with Iraq." This was on or about the 20th of September. I said, "We're going to war with Iraq. Why?" He said, "I don't know." He said, "I guess they don't know what else to do." So I said, "Well, did they find some information connecting Saddam to Al-Qaeda?" He said, No. He says, "There's nothing new that way. They just made the decision to go to war with Iraq." He said, "I guess it's like we don't know what to do about terrorists, but we've got a good military and we can take down governments." And he said, "I guess if the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem has to look like a nail." So I came back to see him a few weeks later. And by that time we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, "Are we still going to war with Iraq?" And he said, "Oh, it's worse than that." He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper, and he said, I just got this down from upstairs," meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today, and he said, "This is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran."
Is a significant and dangerous provocation. There have been a spate of attacks blamed on Iran in recent weeks, but this is a direct attack on a U.S. military asset. This drone is one of America's most sophisticated unarmed surveillance aircraft. Iran does not deny shooting down the U.S. aircraft, but claims it was in Iranian territorial airspace, adding that Iran does not intend to engage in war with another country, but saying Iran is ready, Robin.
Very positive in many ways, and a lot of progress is being made in many other areas. We're talking trade, we're talking military, we're talking defense. And we are very much in favor of what Israel is doing as far as their defense is concerned. Very difficult part of the world, so I just want to let Benjamin, let all of the people know, let Bibi know that we are with you, we are with Israel 100%.
Thank you. And this is a manifold thank you. First, thank you for your strong words yesterday in the General Assembly against the corrupt terrorist regime in Iran. You back up your strong words with strong actions, and I think the fact that you have brought American sanctions to bear has cut the cash machine of Iran and its campaign of carnage and conquest in the Middle East. And we who live in the Middle East, Israelis and Arabs, who are subject to this Iranian danger, I want to thank you especially.
Israel has acted on its own before. In 1981, attacking a reactor being built in Iraq when it feared Saddam Hussein was trying to develop nuclear weapons. The man who led that mission then, Zev Raz, understands the tough talk now.
It's a real corner, as we call it, and they have no choice but to talk this way and maybe cause...
To talk belligerently.
Yeah, this is... they have no choice. What can they do? Sit and see how Iran becomes nuclear? It's much worse.
The last 45 days, we have had
at least 4 engagements that we know about between U.S. military forces inside Syria and the Syrian regime, elements of the Syrian regime that are supported by Iran and Russia. This is a dangerous escalation. It's unauthorized. There is no authorization for military force that Congress has passed that gives the president the ability to take military action against the Syrian regime. And we have to understand what we're getting involved in, right? You are not just fighting Bashar al-Assad. If you are going to ramp up military activity against Assad, you are also going in against Iran and Russia.
Were I a Jew, I would be a Zionist. And my father pointed out to me, I did not need to be a Jew to be a Zionist, for I am. Israel is essential to the security of Jews worldwide.
I think that we are getting closer and closer to open conflict with Iran and Russia, and the American public need to know that we are moving very fast towards what could be another war inside the Middle East, something, by the way, that Donald Trump promised he wouldn't do when he ran for office.